Changing oil is the easiest part of a tune-up. Oil should be changed every 3,000 miles. This is a 1989 Ford Crown Victoria. It has a V8 engine, which means it has 8 cylinders on the engine for 8 spark plugs, and the engine size is 5.0 liters. This is where you put the oil. When checking the oil, pull the yellow dipstick out to wipe it, clean it with a rag or paper towel, then put the dipstick back into place. Then pull out the dipstick again to see if the oil is in the crosshatch area and to see if the oil is black. Usually you can look at these stickers near the front of the car that tell you information about what type of oil you need as well as other useful information about your car. Not many tools are needed for an oil change. A Crown Victoria is pretty high off of the ground, so a car jack will not be needed, but many cars require a small car jack to lift up the car so you can get underneath. This is a pizza box to prevent oil spills from staining the ground. Here is an oil pan I fashioned out of a box. And here are some wrenches, a glove, a big wrench, and a tool for unscrewing an oil filter. Most cars only have one drain plug on the oil pan, but this car has two. There's one here, and then closer to the front of the engine, there's one here. We will have to drain both if we don't want any leftover oil in the car. Position the oil pan and whatever you use to prevent oil from staining the floor underneath the oil pan where the drain plugs are. Now it's time to unscrew the drain plug. Take the wrench that fits the size of the drain plug and turn counterclockwise to unscrew. Notice how dirty and brown-black the oil is. I cleaned the drain plug. Make sure to take off the old gasket, this copper thing. It may be stuck to the oil pan or drain plug. Some modern cars no longer use replaceable gaskets, but have them built into the drain plug. And not all gaskets are copper. Some are plastic, some are rubber, some are nickel. Here are some half-inch gaskets that fit my drain plug. As you can see, they're not the same type of gasket as I had previously on the drain plug. And just fit them right over. Now that the oil has finished draining, clean the area. Replace the drain plug. And then remember to turn clockwise to tighten it. After draining the oil, it's time to change the oil filter, which should be located right next to the oil pan. The Crown Victoria has a large engine, so the oil filter is bigger, and this device that is great for taking off old oil filters does not fit. So, for this car, we will have to use this giant wrench to take off the old oil filter. Adjust the wrench to unscrew the oil filter, remembering to turn counterclockwise once again to unscrew an object. Also, position the oil pan underneath because oil will leak once you remove the oil filter, and it doesn't matter if when you're unscrewing the oil filter if it gets dented. Just don't dent it too much because otherwise it might be impossible to unscrew. But it doesn't really matter if you dent it because you're going to throw it away. Once the area where you connect the oil filter has completed draining, make sure to clean the area thoroughly And most importantly, make sure that there is no black seal left from the old oil filter around the area where you put the oil filter. I cannot stress this enough. It is the most important thing when doing an oil change, because if that seal is there and you put on a new oil filter, you will blow out your engine. It will cost you thousands of dollars or a new car. Here is the black seal from the old oil filter which I was talking about. Notice how easy it comes off, and it can get stuck where you're supposed to connect the oil filter, so always make sure that it is with the old oil filter. Next, make sure that the old oil filter and new oil filter are the same size. Different companies have different product numbers. These are the same, so it's easier to tell, but always measure them to make sure that they are both the same size. Now, pour some fresh oil into the new oil filter to make sure that when you start up your car that it doesn't dry start because there's no oil inside the oil filter. I do not like wearing gloves when working with cars. However, it is important to wear gloves when working with cars because many chemicals, including oil, are known to cause cancer. I am putting on this one glove to tighten the oil filter because I am not going to use any tools to tighten the oil filter because I may dent it if I do. Tightening the oil filter with the glove just makes it easier to tighten because your hands have oil on them, there's oil on the oil filter, and it just makes it less slippery and you get a better grip when tightening the oil filter. Congratulations! You're ready to start pouring fresh oil into your car. But first, look at this old, disgusting oil. As you can see from these lines, this is a 5-quart bottle of oil. However, I prefer the individual 1-quart bottles, but whichever. Locate where you are supposed to put your fresh oil into, and be sure to remember to turn counterclockwise to open up the place where you pour your oil. And if it's tight, use a rag. Again, this is a 5-quart bottle of oil. It is 10W30, but most cars require 5W30. This is a higher mileage car, so we need a thicker oil. Look on those stickers in the front of your car or in your user's manual to see what type of oil you need. I will only be pouring 4 quarts of oil into this car, even though it needs 5 quarts, because I will also be using Lucas Oil Stabilizer, which helps reduce engine knocking, and it replaced Slick 50, which was a great product to use to help higher mileage engines not make sounds when driving. Lucas Oil Stabilizer. It's another great product to use to reduce engine knocking. It puts Slick 50 out of business, so there are not many other options out there to use. It will not void warranties if used properly, so 20% of system capacity is 4 quarts oil and 1 bottle Lucas for this Crown Victoria. Again, Lucas Oil Stabilizer is for high mileage cars or cars that are making a knocking sound. So if your car is not either of those, then don't use it. Just put the full capacity of oil that your car requires. Once you are done pouring oil into your car, put the cap back on, remembering to turn clockwise to tighten. Check under your car to make sure there are no leaks. After you are sure everything is in place, turn on the car and let it run for about 5 minutes to let the oil circulate. After you've run your car for about 5 minutes, once again check under your car to make sure that there are no oil leaks. Pull the yellow dipstick out, clean it, then put it back in, and then pull it out again and make sure that your oil is full. And then clean it and then put it back. Congratulations, you're done with your oil change. However, now you need to properly dispose of the used motor oil. So pour it into a container and take it to either a recycling center, call the city to pick it up, or dispose of it in some other legal way. And once again, that's it. You are done with your oil change.